Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So in today's video, I'd like to talk more about the housing crisis that we are now facing, because it doesn't really seem that we have any kind of relief in sight. Now, for a lot of you who follow me on this channel, you know that I work at a lumber yard. I do retail sales for a living. But I also live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in timber country. There's a lot of mill operations, loggers, truck drivers, other retail outlets. There's really no corner of this industry that I can't see, and I can tell you that sales are really slow right now. Obviously, there's going to be some areas and some stores and some districts and some people who are going to do better than others, but when you look at the broad economic environment when it comes to lumber sales and how that is actually a reflection of the building activity that has taken place, we are in a very suppressed market right now, and lumber is at a price that was very similar to that of 2018, prior to the pandemic, prior to all the inflation. So really, when you think about the economic activity slowing down within the building industry, this is essentially like the heartbeat of America. Like, when you are building, it's a domestic product. It's like domestically supplied product of like building supplies, labor, energy sources, everything, finance, everything is like a domestic supply. And so when you have a lot of building activity taking place, then it's a sign that there's a lot of economic activity that is happening out there. But all things being equal, when you see that reverse and you see a slowdown in building activity, then most likely you have a very dramatic slowdown taking place throughout the broad economic environment when it comes to where that money ends up going. Like, you think about construction workers having to travel to put a building together. They're staying at the hotels, eating at the restaurants. They're bringing that money home. They're building a house themselves. They're raising a family. They're spending that money out there. And so when you have financing going into building activity, that's a lot of new money that comes in that then gets spent into the economy, and you see a lot of like economic growth that comes from that. So ultimately, when you keep an eye on building and you want to see the building activity taking place, there's no better sign of that than the demand for lumber. And this is really where I think that I step in as a retail seller of lumber, buyer of lumber, and then also here in the Pacific Northwest, geez, I can't even say it, here in the PNW, I'm also very sensitive to the idea of what it is that's taking place within the logging community, within the mill community, within the truck drivers. All this stuff I get to see firsthand. And so when I see all this stuff slowing down, and I don't really see a whole lot of like encouragement to spark more activity within these industries, then I can honestly say that we are probably not going to have a dramatic increase in homes. Like, builder activity is where the inventory is going to come from. If you have a slowdown in sales, then most likely the builders are not going to be there. And now what we are witnessing within this market is a rise in people who are delisting. Like, they're giving up on trying to sell their house and they're just going to hunker down until times change. Well, with no real change in sight, like, you think about it, the last time the Federal Reserve lowered rates, mortgage rates went up. So everybody's anticipating like cheaper mortgages or cheaper interest rates or lower interest rates in the future for a cheaper mortgage. But yet that's not necessarily what may happen, considering what took place last time the Federal Reserve lowered rates. So when we think about what it is that's going to be taking place going into the future, really, I have to honestly say that it's probably going to be more of the same. Like, what else is going to happen? It takes a long time to start bringing homes into fruition. Like, the day that you decide that you're going to start to build a home, from the day that you decide that to the day you actually start to build a home, there we go. Sometimes I don't say my words right. That can take anywhere from 6 months to a year. Like, the logistics that come behind trying to line up the contractors, trying to line up financing, trying to line up all the permitting, all that other stuff, is a very difficult process. Now, if you are very privy to it, you know how to do this, and you're active in the game, well, then that's probably going to be something that is going to be fairly easy for you to do, is to just fire up and, start building homes again. But if you're thinking like, a lot of these people do, that I can just go out there and just build a home anytime I want. Well, now you have to hire somebody to do that. Think about what is taking place right now. This is really important. I don't know how many people are really tuning into this portion of this industry, and that is a lot of contractors, a lot of these builders are giving up. They're shutting down operations. Like, if you're not building, you're not working, you're not eating. So why would you continue to operate if you don't have buyers in the market to buy your newly constructed house? If the buyer's not there, then you don't get to eat. If you don't get to eat, you got to go find something else to do. And so a lot of these builders are completely giving up. So even if you wanted to build a house and you're not going to do it yourself, you have to hire somebody. And if there's nobody to hire, how much are you going to end up paying to build that house? A lot of money, supply and demand. So as we see this problem continue to escalate going into the future with the lack of sales, we're going to see a diminishing of people who actually put those things together, those homes together. And as we see the diminishing of builders and their businesses, and they start to close up shop, the ability to build a home is going to diminish with them. See, I don't know how many people have internalized this. This is one of the reasons why you're probably not going to see a whole lot of new home construction taking place, but instead going to see a lot of apartment complexes. Because that's where the commercial money is going to end up going to, is to rental incomes. When you buy a individual house to raise a family, well, then you better have some money to do that, because most people can't afford it, even if they had a good job, even with 20% down. So as you see the lack of sales take place, the lack of builders who are able to profit inside of this industry diminish, they are going to fade away. And the ability to find somebody to construct your house is going to fade with them. How long into the future does it take to actually fire up a new business, to get the business license, to get the contractor's license, to find the labor, to find the, all the ability to perform your business within a particular industry when you're starting from scratch? I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to think how quickly you have to go in order to start ramping up production of homes, and how far into the future that would take from the time you decide to do it. I mean, think about it. Right now, we're still diminishing in the amount of people who are going out there and starting businesses to build homes. Like, how many people are actively doing that as opposed to shutting down operations? Right? Eventually it'll find a bottom, and then you'll find where this is a business opportunity for people as the demand for homes may ramp up. But will that ever take place if the opportunity for an individual with a good job doesn't really present itself? Like, you just can't make enough money to go out there and buy a house. You're stuck as a renter. It's like a renter nation. And that very well could happen if there is a lack of homes out there, because the price of homes will go through the roof, or it certainly can't fall that much. If the demand for homes is there and there's no new ones coming on, or a lack of them, or less of them coming on, you can see it. You just almost see it happening. And as this lack of new construction or this new starts fades, and the builders who put those things fade, we're going to find issues more like the homeless. It's easy to blame it. And it's easy, I was even reading a Wall Street Journal article that was blaming the politics of a particular area, and I'm thinking, that's the symptom. It's a great symptom to follow, right? Because then you can really recognize who the property owners are and what kind of mindset the property owners are in. And that's really what it comes down to, because it's the property owners that are creating that environment. It's like you could say, oh man, it's the politics or whatever. Well, yeah, okay, fine. But the politics is a reflection of the property owners. It's the property owners and what it is that they want for their environment that then creates the economic conditions in which that people have to live in. Now, if you're not one of the property owners, you can accuse all kinds of people out there for creating the environment that you now live in, right? And it's easy to accuse them because ultimately it's their decisions and where it is that they are spending their money. So now take my area, for example. There's a rise in hospital district. Over here, they got this new addition to the museum that's going on, addition to the library. There's apartment complexes going in. I mean, there's hospital district rising like crazy, like all over the place. This is like a sign of what it is that the property owners here demand. And when I think about it, we have a rise of retirement, we have a rise of remote workers, we have a rise of this sort of people who are living here. So I think, okay, well, if you are someone who is retiring and you are somebody who is in the healthcare industry, that to me is generally kind of in my mind, not necessarily, but could be an idea of big government, like healthcare and insurance and, all that stuff that kind of goes with it. This is kind of like a big government mindset. Well, if you are in an area like Florida, right, where you have a lot of tourist money that's coming in, where people are actively working to try and chase this money down, and the new money is literally going to the goods and services coming from the tourists who are coming in there, well, the people who are getting first money there, getting their hands on that money, these are the property owners there. So it's no wonder why they have like this more conservative mindset. They're more focused in on what it is that they need for themselves to make their life work. And this is generally a conservative mindset. I'm not focused on anything. I'm focused on this. Where a liberal mindset is, how do I make this environment better? How do I make this better for everybody? Everybody needs to enjoy this environment, and they're not so focused in on themselves. And I'm not trying to be accusing, and some people might disagree with this or whatever, but this is what I've witnessed, right? Just from not only the area that I live in, which has changed dramatically from a working class, community to, I mean, I'm not even sure what to call this. Is a very affluent, very trendy, I don't know, like Astoria has changed dramatically over the course of, 30, 40 years now. But that's what happens, right? I mean, it's just, what ends up happening to many areas out there. Okay, I got to go into work. I'm going to come back out for a live stream later on Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.